How's it going, everyone? Jiivita here with a interesting episode on basically settlement identity. Hopefully this won't take too terribly long, but here I have 4 settlements set up. So basically I'm in the center here, and there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. They each have a different gem type to make them a settlement, and they are named after the gem. So there's like diamond, ruby, sapphire, and amethyst. And unfortunately, the atmospheric lighting doesn't really let the gems show off that great, but you can turn on beacon view and kind of see a little bit better what I have set up. So there's the diamonds, and in between these 4 settlements, I have some roads. Each one of these settlements is its own settlement, has its own settlement identity, so on and so forth. But since they're so close together, it only takes a few plots added to this road to start merging all of these settlements together. So basically this is a slight tutorial on how to maintain your own settlement identity and how guild settlements plays an important role in all of this. So taking a look at these 4 settlements right here, you can see that diamond has the most prestige, but the interesting thing is say if ruby absorbs sapphire and then amethyst and then absorbs diamond, then diamond will lose its identity, at least temporarily. However, since diamond will be the majority shareholder of the entire new settlement, diamond will then be able to rename the settlement. So it's kind of a matter of like, well, I'm absorbing your settlement, but you're absorbing something that's bigger than yourself, and they will have the majority rule over it. So that's something to kind of keep in mind if you're trying to absorb settlements together or join several settlements together, whether you're doing it hostilely or benevolently. So, but let's go ahead and make some of this absorb together. And actually, let's take a look at this handy new visualization. So as you can see here, 4 settlements around here. We look around, it changes with our orientation, and so this connecting stuff in the middle, you can see it has red in it, and that means that they're roads. So they're not actually going to join these settlements together, but as we add plots, it will eventually. And as you can see, this blue indicates that it's a settlement, and the blue is overlaying onto the road a little bit, so it's like it's trying to be part of the settlement, but it's still considered a road and not quite there yet. Can I keep adding some plots? There we go. Maybe add one there. There we go. So now these 2 are the same settlement. So diamond probably took over amethyst over there. Okay, so as you can see, slowly but surely all of this is turning into settlement, which is what this blue means. It actually just means other settlement, but since we're not inside the beacon, if we could jump down in here, yeah. So all of that turned white, which indicates that's both the beacon we're in as well as the current settlement. So it looks like maybe this over here. Okay, so I think it just took a little bit for everything to kind of update. This doesn't happen exactly in real time. Yeah, so the entire place is Amethyst Settlement. However, since Diamond is the majority shareholder, basically, so, well, actually, I am the majority shareholder, so I can rename the settlement no matter what, but each one of these were owned by a different player, then the owner of the Diamond Settlement would be able to rename the settlement. So let's call this Greater Gem Settlement. There we go. And so basically now this entire area is one settlement, but each one of these beacons, they miss their identity. They miss being ruby, sapphire, amethyst, and diamond. So what we can do is, if you're part of a guild, you can align it to that guild. So let's align this, and I made a guild for each one of the gems. So let's align this one to diamond. And after a bit of time, the settlement algorithm will update, and now you can see that now we're in a unnamed settlement, but it's located in this Greater Gem Settlement. So now we can come over here and regain our identity of Diamond Settlement. So There we go. Got diamond settlement. Come over here. I've already aligned these other beacons, so it'll be the exact same case. We can come back over here and rename it to its previous name. And there we go. So I renamed all of the settlements back to their previous name once aligning them to the guild. As you can see, here's the guild settlement, and all it has is just the one beacon because there's only one beacon aligned to this guild. However, if we come down to the Greater Gem settlement right here, you can see all of the contributors. So there's Diamond, Ruby, Amethyst, and Sapphire, as well as Jiivita right here, which is just the roadway, which isn't aligned to any of the guilds. So all of these guild settlements still count to this Greater Gem settlement. However, each individual little settlement can still have its own identity. So up at the top of the compass, you can see that we're inside Amethyst settlement. So very nice. And as far as who gets to name the Greater Gem settlement, it's the same as it was before. It's whoever is the majority shareholder, which you can see is Diamond right here. Interestingly enough, the majority shareholder doesn't have to be one single beacon. It actually totals up all of the prestige from all of your beacons within the same settlement, and if that gives you the most prestige, then you are the majority shareholder. However, another interesting little tidbit is that the settlement icon will be centered on the beacon that has the most prestige. So if you want your beacon to be considered the center of the settlement, then you need the single beacon with the most prestige. However, to have naming rights, you simply have to have the most prestige out of everybody in the settlement, whether or not it's across one beacon or 50 beacons. So one thing to kind of keep in mind when so you can actually have the settlement icon on somebody else's beacon even though you might be the viceroy or warden of the settlement. So interesting little tidbits there. And talking about majority shareholders, as you can see, the first 4 members of the settlement are actually guilds. So these are guild names because those beacons are aligned to a guild. The owner of the beacon kind of looks like it's the guild. So basically what could happen is, say, you know, Diamond's currently the majority shareholder and gets to name the Greater Gem settlement. However, if, let's say, Ruby, Amethyst, and Sapphire, they all align to the same guild, they'll be considered one entity, and then they will be considered the majority shareholder. So in other words, it can be very easy for a particular guild to kind of overtake at least the greater settlement. You'll still be able to control your individual beacon identity through a guild. However, the greater settlement, if it has enough of the same guild aligned beacons within it, can take over essentially the greater settlement of the area. However, since the greater settlement really never shows up on the compass unless you're inside of a beacon that is not aligned to a guild, it's kind of, I guess, bragging rights, I suppose. Another really important thing to keep in mind is that the elevation of the plots really doesn't matter. So here is a map over here on the side, and as you can see, it's two-dimensional, and this is how the game literally looks at it. There's no difference between what we have set up right here and, say, the roads being all the way up at the sky and then this guild settlement's all the way down at bedrock. If they still make a picture that looks like this, then the end result is still the same. So it doesn't matter if your base is down at bedrock or the road are up in the sky, the end result is the same. It only matters if they are horizontally basically touching. The vertical aspect is not considered whatsoever. Okay, so I cleaned up the plots a little bit, so all of this white area here in the middle, that is essentially what was the roads, and I guess still kind of is. It's not aligned to any guild settlement, so it doesn't have either yellow or purple lines through it. The green squares with purple lines through them, those are the 4 individual guild settlements that each have their own unique identity. These little red lines over here, those are kind of trying to be roads, and all you'd have to do is come and add a few plots to it and they would no longer be considered roads. However, if you had like 1 line of plots or maybe even 2 lines of plots extending out a great distance, they would most likely end up being considered roads. So But anyway, I think that covers this pretty well. This was Jiivita. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Also, if you like my channel, want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.